Hi, everyone. This is Trish Kendall, your host for the Choose and Become interview series. I am here this morning with my friend and colleague, Tim Washer. Tim, just say hi really quick. All right.
Hey, everybody.
So
Thanks
it
for coming.
is, just so you know this, Tim, it is probably like pitch black in my room because it's April 3rd in Boston and it looks like it's winter outside. It's disgusting. Like, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
It's snowing. I live in Connecticut in the New York City suburbs, about an hour north of Manhattan, and it is snowing. And we had a beautiful. We usually trail run on Thursdays at 6, but like three of us are injured, so we just did a nice hike through with
But you
walkers. We
still
have
did it.
walkers, and we still did it, and it was beautiful. It's so pretty when it's snowing.
Oh.
It's really nice, but it's slippery, so you take it easy. But
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah. It was a
you're
gift.
okay. So you're awesome. We're going to pick that up later too, because I do follow you and I see all of the active outside things that you do. And so I'm going to pick that up later. So for anybody who does not follow this show, I just want to take a step back before moving forward to set some context around the interview. I made 5 critical choices on my journey from the pit of despair to the peak of success, to my enduring success. And the premise of this interview series is that I want to and do interview the people that I admire, like Tim, to pull their lessons and experiences and words of wisdom as it relates to their journey to enduring success. But I use the 5 choice framework. So Tim is on board. He knows I'm going to ask him these questions, but it's really just for Tim and I to give you a little bit of a peek into a conversation that he and I would have, really with just the two of us, if we were sitting down at dinner before the TEDx talk. So that's the other thing, is that Tim and I were able to experience together TEDx Walden Pond. So I'm just going to stop for a second. And Tim, will you give my audience and our audience a little bit about you?
Sure. So I am a father of 2 kids. I'm got divorced about 10 years ago. It's amazing how that becomes such a part of my identity that I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
first. But we're supposed to be in court tomorrow, so it's top of mind again. So I am a comedian. I started off in marketing, went to business school, and then in Texas at UT Austin, and moved up to New York City uh, based on a recommendation by one of my professors. When I got to New York City, I realized that my calling was comedy, and I started improv. I went First thing I did is took an improv class at Upright Citizens Brigade, and Amy Poehler was my instructor. This is a few years before she
Wow.
got on to SNL. And then she got on SNL, and I got to do a little bit of work with her there, write for her, and on Weekend Update. And then just started working with some of the late night shows, Conan O'Brien when he was in New York, and John Oliver. I still do stuff on John Oliver occasionally. But now, and I wasn't able to pay the bills with that. Uh, and I know I had pressure from my wife at the time. She really wanted me to work at a full time job with dental benefits. So I got a job at IBM because they had a job opening in their communications and events group. So I was a speechwriter, and then also worked with the events team and got to MC and speak at some of their events and that kind of thing. So that opened up the door to keynote speaking, and I started doing a lot. That was 2000, 6, 7. So I've been doing keynote speaking since then, and then also still doing some work with brands, helping them market and use humor to connect with their audiences and build trust that way.
So I giggle a little bit. I giggle a little bit about your needing dental benefits, and I think we've talked about this before. But Joe and I, my husband and I, met in acting school, and he was doing improv in Chicago at IO.
I knew
Yeah,
he was an improviser. Yeah, he went to IO, right?
yeah,
Improv Olympic. That's
exactly,
one of those.
and almost the same little bit of journey or path was, oh, I probably need health insurance. So anyway, but
Yes.
unlike you, you have still made an incredibly enduring career matching up what you love to do with what you are so good at. And for everyone here, Tim's a bit humble here. You help companies globally, companies, leaders, and individuals. And I'm not going to say this right, but the way that I think about you is taking the art and science of improv and stand-up to create better business performance. And so you have figured out how to marry what you love to do and what you're great at, and that it's good business. Thank you for joining me.